What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 139 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic co-host, Carl Wilkin. What's up, dude?
I have a headache, so you're going to probably be talking a lot today.
It's honestly same. So this is, you know what? Let's just call it a day right there.
Yep, the episode's
See y'all
over.
next week. Bye, guys.
No. But for real, I had a bloody nose, I guess it'd be Thursday.
You and I have both had weeks, but in like drastically different ways.
Yeah. So I had a bloody nose Thursday walking home. I was about 100 feet from the house, and I felt dry air, cold air, all of that stuff killing my sinuses. Yep. And then I got inside, I sat down, I took care of it, and then my head started hurting like all day. It's just like not impossible to like do stuff kind of headache. Like I have migraines. I suffer from migraines.
Yep.
It's just one of my big things. And it's not like that. Like I can function with this headache. It's annoying because it's like right behind my eye, but I can function. I can do stuff and record and talk and do all that. But it's going on over 24 hours since I've had this headache, and it won't go away. Medicine's not helping. None of it. Nothing's working.
This is also discounting the fact that you've like smashed your finger and like your truck order at work has been terrible.
Yeah,
like,
I destroyed
your
my
week
fingernail.
has been awful. In contrast, I've been on vacation this week, and so we decided we were going to go down to Branson, which, for those who don't know, is like the country music capital of Missouri. It's like just touristy bull crap.
It is the tourist attraction in Missouri. It's all the fun of the Ozarks with none of the actual like Ozarks.
It's like if you take all the really cool stuff from like living in a city, but like put it in the middle of nowhere, but like also be surrounded by like some of the most like beautiful nature sites you've ever seen, because you are like in, you know, not the mountains, but it's super hilly. It might as well be the mountains.
You're still in the Ozarks. You're not like gone. You're not out of the Ozarks, but it's close.
So we go Monday, and Monday night we're going to go to Silver City, which is a theme park down there. I had reserved our tickets. You buy them online and everything, and when you do, you have to select the date you're going to go. Mm-hmm. They have discounted tickets after 5. I'm like, hey, you know, they have this fall festival going on. Tiff wants to go do it. It starts at 5:30. That's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Pouring down rain.
Oh, of course. It's rained last night.
Pouring down rain. We get to the box office. I'm like, look, I already have tickets. Can we just exchange them for another day? Nope. Park policy is you have to be in the park for 90 minutes, and rides have to close before we will issue anyone a rain check. So Tiff and I walk uphill, because mind you, this park is
It's all hills. Yep.
Everything is uphill.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you are in the park. If you're going somewhere, it's uphill. I don't know how.
Welcome to the Ozarks.
But like some of these hills are like not wheelchair accessible. That's how hilly this place is.
Yeah.
And so we march our way uphill, get checked in, go and get like our fall pass and everything, because like we paid extra for like their food pass and everything, and like it, you know, obviously it was like a very good deal. Got a souvenir mug and everything, all this crap.
Yep.
And then we just stood around in the rain for an hour and a half. Because like we have to. Like, you know, just as much of out of the weather as we possibly could while still being wet outside. Yeah. And then we go, as soon as it's, you know, not setting a timer, but might as well have set a timer, go to guest relations. I'm like, hey, can I get my rain checks? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And they ring us up and they give us full day passes. I'm like, oh, this is actually like a really big upgrade. You know, it's like $30 a ticket more for the full day versus the one we paid. No big deal. Whatever, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But it's perfect because we were planning on leaving Wednesday, so when we check out the hotel, we'll just go to the park and spend all day Wednesday at the park. And I tell them, I'm like, yeah, the lady at the front desk said that we had to even go in. She's like, I don't know why she said that. Your tickets are good for any day. And I just lose it. I am furious now It's like, you're telling me I have been standing in the rain for an hour and a half because someone told me I had to?
Yep. Welcome to the theme
Oh,
park.
I was beyond mad. So then Tuesday, I am just sick as a dog at this point. Because we both stood in the rain for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And Tuesday we went down on like the lake and did stuff down on the lake. And dude, it's 40 degrees on the water and it's 20-mile-per-hour winds. It's just like, we can't, like, we got on a showboat to go do the show, and it's supposed to take you out on the water, and you get to go take pictures of the lake, and it'd be beautiful. And as we're walking on, there's people handing us money. They're like, hey, we're not taking you out on the water today. Here's a partial refund.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. I got discounted tickets anyway, so like half my ticket money I just got back.
There you go.
But it was a very good vacation. Very, very fun. Highly recommend you go to Silver Dollar City if you're ever in the area. It's by far one of the best parks I've ever been to. And I do want to like give a like disclaimer of like there was an incident at the park on Wednesday. Tiff and I are both fine. I do want to give a shout out to all the families affected by that. I do wish everyone a speedy recovery and all that, and I'm sorry to hear that it happened. But yeah, so we're back. We're gonna do things today now that we're 20 minutes in, and probably not quite 20.
More like 5 or 6. It's fine.
Story time for the week is over.
Yeah. Now we get to talk about the team event we've been running for the last, I don't know, 2 months it feels like?
Just over 2 months. I think it'll be about 3 by the time it's actually all wrapped up and finished.
Yeah, because it was 9 weeks round robin and then an extra 3 weeks for top cut. So, yeah, super excited to be wrapping this up right about the same time that Scarlet and Violet's going to drop. It's like we planned all this.
It's almost like we're good at our jobs or something.
Yeah.
But this is the Littleroot Lessons Draft League. For those who are unfamiliar with us and like what we do, this is something we've been doing for a little bit now, where we have like Pokemon draft leagues in our community. You come in, draft a team, and you play a matchup every week. Eventually, there's like finals and everything, and just mostly all for fun. We have done like cash leagues and stuff in the past as well. But to mix it up this time, we are doing a player draft league, which is where you have team managers who then draft players to play matches every week. And then, like we have it's essentially like any sporting event where your teams then move to playoffs and, eventually move into like your playoff bracket into your finals. As of now, we are in our semifinals match. So we have our finals week starting Monday. Those teams have not been decided yet. It will come down between one of 4, and I mean 2 of 4, two of 4 teams.
Yep.
And it's been a lot of work, a lot of stress, but it's been, honestly, it has been fun. I to put it very, very simply, it has been a lot of fun, but also way more stress-inducing than either of us thought it would have been to start.
Yeah. There was a lot of hiccups at the early part, trying to get things working, trying to get things running around, making sure they work. But now that we got into the flow of it, it's kind of fine.
Yeah. You and I, when we decided to do this, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. People were talking about it in the community. We're like, hey, this is something we wanted to do for a while. We should just pull the trigger and do this. And we expected like 40, 50, 60 people to sign up.
Yeah, not 160 plus.
Yeah, we ended up with like 160 players, which is drastically more than we envisioned. We also have this mindset of like player draft leagues have this like toxic mentality about them of forcing players who like have results behind their name to be the ones who are drafted.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
We are very, very inclusive here at Littleroot Lessons. We want to include everyone at all possible stages. And so that was the idea, is, if we have 60 people sign up, we'll have, 8 teams of 8 players, and we'll have matches each week, and it'll be fine. And that evolved into 10 teams of 13, 14 players, and it was drastically more than we thought it would have. And honestly, it's kind of worked out. It has gone well. In reality, I also don't think that that model is feasible for the future. I don't think it's sustainable.
Yeah, it's not. I'm going to put this out there now. We probably won't be doing something similar to this in the future. Mainly just
and if we do, it's going to be a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, it is just logistically, it's really hard. There's a lot that goes on in the background. There were days where I would just turn my phone off because I knew I was going to get 30 pings in the middle of the night, and I didn't want to be waking up every couple hours to check my phone to try and handle something. So yeah, we will probably not be doing any of these in the near future. As fun as this one was, it's just going to be... We're going to stick with our Pokemon draft leagues because they're easier to manage and
honestly, they're just as fun, man.
Yeah, they're just as fun.
I do like the idea of going in and building a team and drafting your Pokemon and reading the draft board and knowing what's going on there. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's also extremely enjoyable. Yeah. So that being said, we're not going to break week by week down. I think the big things we really want to touch on is just really talk about each team. We have some lists made up of seasonal rewards we want to give out to players and everything. Mm-hmm. Those come with a good job and a firm handshake if we ever meet in person.
Yeah, congratulations.
Honestly, we can probably do a Discord roll or something for them if we really want to get special when all of it's said and done. But yeah, where do you want to start, my dude?
Let's just start with the Shuckles and work our way across the board here.
Okay.
Because Shuckles had the number 1 pick overall, if I remember correctly.
I believe this is in draft order, yes.
Yes. So I'm going to transition our beautiful faces away here to the page where people can see how they did for the season, who the managers are, and things like that. If you see
you're on the players. You're on the team page. Got it.
Yeah. If you see any names that are struck out, that is a player who had dropped due to issues earlier on. A lot of them were mainly just early drops. Didn't want to make the commitment. Kind of fell out of love with VGC, things like that.
Life catches up to people. We understand that.
We had enough players to make sure that if we did have drops, we were still fine.
Exactly.
We weren't going to have to make any big sweeping changes overall.
So talking about the league, this is a 10-team league with the top 2 teams at the end of the regular season getting buys into playoffs, and then the next 4. So if the top 6 teams make playoffs, yep. First and second end up getting buys. Third place 6, fourth place 5, and then the lowest seeded team plays the 1 seed. The other team remaining plays the 2 seed. Winner of those moves on to the finals.
Yeah.
Right now we're in that 1v4, 1v5.
So current playoff positions here. You guys were the Darms. You're playing the 5 seed Blacephalons. T-Tars were the 2 seed, and they're playing the 1 seed, the 3 seed Ampharos.
Okay, got it. I couldn't remember who ended with what. I knew we would never play the 3 side. Yeah. That was the only thing I knew for sure.
You were never going to play the Ampharos. The T-Tars were never going to play the Purebreds.
Correct.
Pretty much how it works out. Or no, you guys were never going to play
the Shuckles. They would never play the Shuckles. Yes.
Yeah, they would never play the Shuckles. Which, speaking of which, Shuckles are on the screen right now.
Yes. So going into at the end of the regular season, record of 5-4 was good enough for the 6th seed, and I believe they were knocked out in quarters, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Manager Papa Shuckle, co-manager Poppy Canton, they did a great job with this team. had some real good weeks and then some real tight weeks, and then there was a couple weeks where it was just like, what happened?
Yeah, some
So this is
absurdly
what was
powerful
great.
weeks.
This is what was great about this league is there were like really solid teams like were just like eking wins out over each other, 5-4, 5-4, and then there's teams that just like here's an 8-1. Like what the heck happened there?
I believe we'll get to them after a while, but the Calirexes were the only team to have a 9-0 win
Yes.
in the regular season, which is
They
just
were.
like insane.
Yeah. So they went 5-4 against Celadon Triattax. They went 8-1 against the Infernos. Lost 3-6 to the Turtwigs. Beat the Purebreds 6-3. Beat the Ampharos 6-3. Lost to the Blacephalons 1-8. Lost to the Darms 3-6. Beat the T-Tars 7-2. I believe the T-Tars were. They had lost. The T-Tars lost in week 6, if I remember right, or 7.
Yes, T-Tars lost in week 8. I know for sure they lost in week 7 and week 8.
Yeah, they got beat up by the Ampharos and they got beat up by the Shuckles, and then turned around and revenge knocked you all out at 8-1.
Yes, yeah.
Which we'll talk more about the T-Tars and all them coming up here in a little bit. But overall, I think 5-4 is still a very solid record in this very strong league. You have very strong wins against the T-Tars. You have strong wins against the Ampharos, Purebreds. All three of those made playoffs. So I feel like this team was very, very strong. You have the whole list for team MVP, you wanted to call it, I guess.
Yes, so there are 2 designations that I have here. Well, essentially 3. There's the team MVP, which is the highest rated player on that team through the regular season, and then we have first team and second team, like all pro. When I follow the NFL pretty religiously, and there is like your all pro designations at the end of the season for like highest rated players per position, essentially. So that's essentially what this is the all pro roster, which is made up of the highest rated players among the entire league. So I do have a team MVP per team, with the Shuckles being Tremoxis, who went 6-1 in the regular season. Had a 12-5 regular season game win percentage match. They had a game record of 12-5 in the regular season, which is like obviously very good. Had a single loss 0-2, and then every other win was obviously a win, with a few 2-1s mixed in. But yeah, very, very insane record, and very, very deserving of the team MVP here.
I don't think any of the Tremoxis is also on the second All Pro team, right?
Yes, they did finish in the second team All Pro with their 6-1 record.
Awesome, good job.
And we'll break all that down as well at the end of all this. We'll designate the players per roster, and then we'll talk about the actual full list as well. So,
okay,
cool.
Let's move on to the Triattax.
The Celadon Triattax, hosted by Captain Unova and Papa Swish. Had a little bit of a rough season.
Yeah, this is hilarious here because they had a lot of close weeks. Like
insanely close week.
Every week up until their one win against our Turtwigs was 4-5 losses. Like,
it was just so close.
If you think about it in terms of how like they played, that just means if one little RNG thing broke their way that week, that's another win, and that's another win, and that's another win. And this team could have had the potential of being another 5-4 team really, really easily.
Yeah, just this was one of the teams that, like, during the draft and everything, I'm just like, this team is one that needs to be watched out for. This team is very, very good. It has a lot of very talented players from top to bottom. And just, sometimes it just doesn't break your way, man. And that's the simplest way to put it.
Yep.
A lot went really well for him, and a lot went really, really wrong. And that's, it happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
As a sports fan, sometimes your team has a really rough season, man, and you just go, all right, we'll get them next time.
Yeah,
like that's all you can do.
They went 1-8, but their battle win percentage was like 45%. There was a point in the season it was above 50. Like they had won one match the entire season, but they had a 50% battle win percentage. Their tiebreakers were insane.
Yeah,
it's just
put up a hell of a fight the entire season.
Yeah, they did not roll over. Like boasting,
like this is a 1-8 team who almost had 100 game wins.
Yeah,
that's insane.
for finishing, like, for not getting as many match wins as they did. 92 battle wins ties the next team above them in total, like, battle record wins at 92.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
Insane. Like I said, just a little bit of RNG probably breaks their way a little bit more. They probably flip some of those 4-5s into 5-4s, end up being like 4-5 or 5-4, and could probably have a little bit more confidence going into the last half of the season.
I do want to shout out their team MVP here in UU. Had a record of 5-2, 12-5 in matches, in games. Just bunch of 2-0s to start the regular season. Just went 4-0 in the first 4 weeks, which, like, obviously on any kind of run like that, that's very good. 4-0 into the last 5 weeks they played 3 games, went 2-1. 1-2. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I'm struggling today, man. But yeah, just again, just a really, really good, really well placed and well drafted team. Obviously, like Captain Unova and Papa Switch are both very good managers. I'm very glad to have them part of our team and our league. And unfortunately, it just wasn't their season, man.
Yep. I bet you if you put everything back the same way, just run these things back, they end up being easily a 4-5 or a 5-4 team.
Yeah,
fighting for one of those playoff spots.
Like we played them week 2, and the entire time I'm just like, come on, we are better than this. We're gonna be fine. We gotta get this, and then we end up winning the week. And it's just like a huge sign of relief, and just it's so rough, man. So rough.
Okay, next team up, the Purebreds, the Paldea Purebreds. Another 5-4 team, ended up finishing the 4 seed, if I remember correctly.
That sounds correct, yes.
In the hands of manager Yan Okan. For those that may have been following really early on, this is this was kind of our last minute, we need a team manager kind of thing, because we didn't realize how big we were until it was too late.
We had a team right before the draft drop out.
Yeah,
is what happened, and Jan stepped in and just took over and was just, yeah, sure, I got this, no big deal, we got it.
Yeah, sure. Like, we can do this, let's do it. And they did great. Their team overall has been kind of under the radar for a little bit, I would say.
I would agree with that.
They weren't really in a playoff position up until probably week 8. And once they won their week 8, that's when all the tiebreakers got to start eking out and trying to do the math and things like that. There was a lot of scenarios where the Purebreds would be the last man out, to be the bubble boy, sitting there at 7th place.
Their 4 losses were really early in the season, coming in weeks 2, 4, 5, 6. So like, having them pretty early, going into week 4 at 2-2, like that's a very salvageable season.
Yeah.
And to end at 5-4, and be good enough to make playoffs is obviously very good. They had 2 players here at 6-1. They had another player at 5-1 here. Like, very, very good players. Both their 6-1 players is good enough to make the second team All Pro in Charisma Check and Zap. I am going to give the team MVP to Zap, who had an 80% game win rate, which is just absolutely insane.
12-3 is nuts.
Yeah, just when I was looking through this, you and I were talking about, like, what's the difference here? Who do we give this to? And I'm like, Charisma went 13-7, and Zap is 12-3. And me and you just go just like dead silent, just like, holy cow.
Yeah. Like, insane win record.
Yeah, had a single loss, and then the rest of the season lost 1 game.
Definitely don't want to underplay Charisma Check. Charisma Check was the reason they were doing so well a lot of the time.
For sure. Had a 3-0 win streak in the last 3 weeks of the season, which obviously helped them win and make it into the playoffs. And obviously, like, Zap also did the same thing, went 3-0 in the last 3 weeks. And it's kind of ironic that the weeks that they didn't play, week 6, neither of them played, and that week was a loss to the Tyrannotars, excuse me. So I'm just saying, man. play your good players, and then you'll win. That's how this works, right?
Yep. I believe Charisma Check is also the person that almost always had their match done first. They were always...
Dude, always early.
Every time I posted matches on Monday, that Monday morning, Charisma Check would usually post a result that evening. And I don't remember a single time where Charisma Check wasn't the first one for that week on the list. Every time.
Yeah, if not, it was very close to that, yeah. For sure.
Okay. The next team up is the Turtwigs.
The Twin Leaf Turtwigs. Piloted by Zardy and Pocoyo. This is another team that I'm a big fan of. Like, everyone on this roster.
Yeah, again, this is a very strong roster. Mm-hmm. Did finish 5-4. Unfortunately, was just outside due to tiebreakers. A lot of 6-3 losses that could have, if they were maybe 5-4, you end up making that a 4-5. You end up making that tiebreaker a little bit better. But still, really strong team. They did everything they needed to at the end to put themselves in a position to make the top cut.
So, their match record was 43-38, which is the same as the Shuckles, who finished 6th. So it came down to their battle records of basically a 52.5% win rate versus a 50.8% win rate. Mm-hmm. So just really, really close, but unfortunately it was just literally one match difference between them making playoffs and not.
Yep.
And it's absurd to think it came down to that close.
Yeah, we didn't expect to have that many people that close together. We figured going into the last week it'd be at minimum seeding, trying to figure out who's going where. We didn't realize that we could have a bunch of 5-4s to try and fill the last the last 3 slots. And excuse me, the Turtwigs did everything they needed to try and get into a position to win, to be even in the conversation to make playoffs there, beating Blacephalon 7-2. Like, it had to be 7-2. They had to win that week. Like, in that fashion. If they didn't go 7-2, they were never going to catch the Shuckles at all.
Yep.
And they put the pedal to the metal, and they got to that point, and Unfortunately, the Shuckles won a few more games than they did, so they couldn't.
Just so close,
So
man.
close.
Just absolutely insanely close.
Yep.
I do want to shout out their team MVP and our first team All Pro here in Javier, going 7-1, 15-5 in games. Just absolutely insane from week 2 through 9.
Yep.
Rattling off wins back and forth. Their only loss was to OK, which was a 1-2. So
yeah. Like even in their loss, they still won a game.
Still hyper competitive, yeah. Absolutely insane.
Yep. Next up is the Infernos. This is another one of those 1-8 teams. This team gets my award for just like best vibes, best feel good stuff. This team got down real quick and early, and I know a lot of the players were getting frustrated, but they just stuck it out and they kept playing. Shout outs to Flair, Ted, and Esther for kind of helping keep this team running and keeping it together. That way, everyone, at least through the regular season, got to play everything.
For sure.
I know people are going to see this and go, hey, why does Miss Speller play all 9 weeks? Because we're supposed to have a week off. They had subbed in for a couple weeks, which subs didn't count towards the game totals and all that.
You know, life happens. People have to sub in at times, and
they were the one who was available.
They were actually the only player to play all 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, but also, you know, it really says a lot of just, yeah, sure, I know I'm off, but I can play.
I'm available.
Let me in. I'll be fine.
Exactly.
I believe it's also the only player on their team, one of the few players on their team to have a winning record.
Yeah.
At 5-4, Spades was down here at 2-1 before they dropped.
Yeah.
Just really, really close matches just all season, man. And unfortunately was the team to lose 0-9, which, you know, obviously never feels good to go out and get blown out like that. But again, like I think if you run this back, if you put this through a simulation, I don't think this is a 1-8 team. I really don't. I love everyone on this team. I have a lot of really close friends on this roster. And it's really unfortunate that that's how it broke for them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, do want to shout out Miss Speller for being their team MVP at 5-4. Again, just like stepping up, putting the team on your back, doing everything you can for them.
Exactly.
That's all I can ask for, right?
Yep.
So next, then that brings us to the spine-chilling Calirexes with Neils and 200 Candies.
Correct.
I do want to say Candies is the only team manager to, I believe, play this many games because we had to lift the manager restrictions for them to be able to play. But also to have that high of a win rate. Like, I know Jan went 2-0. Let's see. Zardy went 2-1.
Yeah, Zardy went 2-1. You said was 2-0. I don't remember. Rinkai is probably the next closest one. No, Rinkai only played 2 matches.
NG was 3-0.
Yeah, NG was 3-0. Nibs was 2-2.
And then I was 1-1.
You were 1-1.
Yeah, just Candies went 5-2, and you and I were, when we were first talking about it, when I made my list for all pros and everything, 5 wins was the cutoff of what I was gonna have on the list, and they were the only manager to obviously make it on there at 5-2, which is just insane.
Yeah. Trying to look through the rest of this team. This was a team that they had a lot of people that I weren't really familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that I wasn't sure how this team was going to do. But they ended up turning it around for a 3-6 finish. They were in playoff contention there for a little bit still, up until they had some close.
Again, starting 2-3, that's a season you can salvage. And unfortunately, then they just rattled off a few too many losses there at the end of the season. But them winning in week 9 is really what made playoff contentions like really awkward for everyone else.
Yeah, them winning. They got to play spoiler, and they did their job fantastically well. Got to put that 5 and got that win over the Shuckles at 5-4.
Ironically, had the Calyrexes won another match that week, the Turtwigs would have been in playoffs too.
Yep.
So like, there's a lot of things that really could have gone just one game difference, and they could have been in.
Yep, exactly.
I do want to shout out their team MVP here, and Robbie, 5-1, who finished the season 5-0 in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah,
it's just like, again, go put the team on your back.
They just took off. Like we swapped formats after week 4 to go and play with Series 13 and Spikemouth because Series 12 ladder was pretty much done by then, and they just rattled off 5 wins in a row there.
I'm curious really what formats they played.
I believe it was Spikemouth every time.
That's what I'm looking at. I know.
Spikemouth in week 8.
Yep, there's week 6.
Spikemouth in week 9.
Yep, Spikemouth every week.
Yep.
Just 5-0 in Spikemouth. That's awesome. That's really, really awesome.
That tells you that that's somebody who was ready to play that format and just ready to go and picked it up really, really well. Because a lot of these players were excited for Spikemouth, and so when we did the whole swap over, they were ready for the change. We ended up playing 7 Spikemouth games and 2 Series 13 games a week, and a lot of people were excited for both formats, and we kind of tried to balance it out the best we could based on what everybody was liking at the time. And having players like Robbie just pick up Spikemouth really fast and just rattle off a bunch of wins there could have made or break the difference there, trying to get them even these closer like purebreds and Alpha Ampharos losses. If any of their other players had just gotten an extra win, Robbie would be looking fantastic as just carrying the team to playoffs there.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, our 3rd seed, Alpha Ampharos, in the hands of Mystic, VGC, and Engie. This team is very strong.
For sure.
Very scary. Has one of the team, I believe it was the team that knocked off the T-Tars undefeated streak in week 7. Yeah.
Yes.
Knocking them down 7-2. Before that, the T-Tars had been really really hot, undefeated with both you and the Darms. And
was 6-0 going into week 7. What was really cool is there was this like really cool storyline that could have happened where the 2 8-0 teams were going to play for like
the number 1 seed.
The number 1 seed and like the 9-0 record in week 9. Unfortunately, we did end up losing the 9-0 record, but the T-Tars also lost beforehand, so we weren't even playing for like it was still like the 2 best teams at the top at the time.
Yeah.
Playing for the number 1 seed essentially, but just super, super awesome.
Yep. A lot of strong players on this team. People may know Krebs on YouTube or in the community. They were very, very strong. I want to shout out
to Krebs.
Yeah, I want to shout out Guardian of Light as well. It is very, very hard to still have a winning game record while still having a under 500 match record, and this just shows that you can still do really well even in losses.
Yeah, for sure.
Who got their MVP?
So they actually have 2 players who finished with 6 wins or more, which is good enough for. I believe they were both 6 wins. For the. Yeah, we have 1 second team All Pro, and then we have 1 first team All Pro. We have Ducky, who went 6-0, and then we have Narc, who went 6-1, who's going to be our second team All Pro here. I am going to give the MVP to Narc, just because They had a really awesome run of like 4-0 to end the season, to really help like solidify the playoff run, solidify their seeding in playoffs and everything. It's really, really close. I think the 6-0 is good enough for like first place, and that one loss is enough to knock off Narc out of first team. But like the 4-0 run to end the season, I think is enough for MVP.
Yeah. Ducky got a lot of their wins early. Kind of took a break at the latter half of the season. Fun fact, didn't play against you all in the Darms.
Well, that explains it. I mean, again, just
like if Ducky had played against the Darms, that could have been
been the difference maker.
Could have been the difference maker there. But yeah, both players. If we could give out more than one MVP, would probably get MVP there.
Like having two players have 6+ wins is obviously just insane.
Like, and if you go on beyond that, like Gahaku and Krebs both at 5 wins here, respectively, just really strong showings.
Really good roster.
A lot of 4-win teams, 4-win people here too. Like, yeah, like I don't think there's a whole lot of really like underperforming players on here.
Agreed. Their roster is very, very good.
Next up, the Bursting Blacephalons.
This is who we are currently playing in the quarterfinals.
Yes.
And let me tell you, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's
no, I lied. We're yes.
Yeah, you are.
We're playing the Blacephalons.
Yep.
I knew that. We're fine. We're good. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Jackie and Renkai have been running this team, and for a while there was some talk that the Bursting Blacephalons are probably going to be the 3 seed going into it. They were 5-2 going into week 8, going up against you all.
There was a chance for them to have a bye.
Like if there was a scenario going into week 8 where they beat you, and the T-Tars lose another one, and then they can jump the T-Tars. Like there was a world where that happened.
This is a world that we could have lived in.
Yep. Definitely a lot of strong players here. I believe Klefki YMM played 8 weeks for this team. Both really, really strong players. Oh, and Cylian. I'm sorry if I mispronounced this name, but all of them like 7-1, 5-3, 6-2 played every week they could. All really, really strong players. Snorlax Smash, also really, really strong player. Missed one extra week that they didn't, I think was due to like a holiday or something. But a lot of really strong players. I don't think there's like really a whole lot of losing records on this roster either. There's a lot
of really good wins.
Just heads just above water all the time. Who got their MVP and who got All Pro?
Let's see. So we have their team MVP is going to Klefki at 7-1, which is good enough for it's tied for second best record in the league.
Yeah.
So obviously good enough for first team. And then they have C Leon at 6-2 as well, who's going to make second team All Pro.
Awesome. Yep. Real good team here.
Yeah, just absolutely insane.
It just tiebreakers ended up getting to the point where they finished 5th instead of 4th.
Yep.
Overall. That's just how it is.
And there's looking at the playoff rosters, this is a team I didn't want to face.
Yeah, if there was a team that could just knock you out of playoffs, this is it, right? This team has a lot of very strong players, and going into playoffs, there's no all the restrictions reset, so anybody's allowed to play again.
Good team. We can just play the best players every week now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm really, really hoping that our team is able to pull it off. The Darms have nothing but immaculate vibes, and it's been very, very good. I'm excited to talk about our roster when we get there.
Yeah. Which, when this goes live, we'll know who's won and all that, so you'll be able to. We'll probably tweet it out on Monday when the episode goes live, who's playing who in the finals. That brings us to the Texas Tyrannotars. ran by Adam Santacos and Nibs. This was our this going in after the draft. This was the pick I had for like this is the scary team.
Oh yeah, like 100%. Everyone on their team, I just love all of them.
Yeah, like
Their team is just, again, like if we don't have the best vibes, I'm gonna say this team is a very very close second.
yeah.
Like Adam and Nibs and like Nino and Angelo and Quiver and Jim and just everyone on their roster is awesome. And I'm sorry you all had to put up a Swede.
I forgot about that. This was my going after the draft after watching it all unfold there. This was definitely my front runner team. This was the team I had picked to probably win it all, mainly due to the fact because I knew who was on the team. I know the history behind most of these players. We interact with them a lot through ATX or our own community or other things we've been working on. And this team was scary. Like you said, undefeated up through week 6, lost to the Ampharos in week 7, lost to the Shuckles in week 8. And then they got mad and turned around and stomped you
and
all.
just punched us in the face. I do want to shout out Adam and Nibs. They were both very, very big, like very huge advertisers for our league. And it's like part of the reason why the league ended up growing so large. I know that like Evan also had a big part of that, like posting it everywhere and anywhere you possibly could. But I couldn't. There were just weeks leading up to it where I'd get on Twitter and Adam is just talking to someone just like, hey, come join this league. It's going to be great. It's going to be a fun time. And it's just like players I had never heard of, never met before. And we're like, I never interacted with Quiver before this. And, obviously very, very glad to have them in our community. They're fantastic. And just huge shout outs to Adam and Nibs for really going and putting the league on their back and just really helping us out.
Yeah. Who got their team MVP? Who got first team? Whatever, all that jazz.
Yeah. So we have Justified Joe went solid 6-0. Good enough for not only their team MVP but also first team recognition here as well.
Nice.
Yeah, just really fantastic roster of fantastic people, and I'm really, really hoping we get to play them next week in the finals.
Yeah, gotta get your revenge match. Right?
We got to, man. It's the only team we haven't beat so far.
Yeah. Okay, that brings us to the Darms,
the best team in the league.
Well, by regular season standards, yes, the best team.
By the vibe check, also the best. I obviously I love this roster. And like honestly, I feel like I haven't really done a lot. Angelo has really just been like the front runner of like doing things. Our entire front office crew has just been fantastic. And like our roster is just stacked. I could not be more happy with everyone here. Just it's amazing. We have the best team, the best vibes, and just like the best support crew you could possibly ask for on a roster.
Yeah. Obviously run by you and Ro. There was a lot of names on here that I kind of recognized, and I was starting to kind of look and see like, oh, I recognize Coco for Days. I know who Dread Mambo is. Clarkin's part of the community. Atomic Penguin's part of the community. And then there were some people like I had no clue who they are. Like Sinbad, I don't know them. Weevo, which we'll talk about here in a minute. I don't know where this player came from, but they've been tearing up the league. Just every match they play is a win.
I believe Weevo was someone who Jess had on her like radar and really helped nail down. Angelo and Jess were really like streamlined in on the drafting process on draft day and everything, and I believe she really pushed to draft him, and like obviously it's paid off.
Yeah.
he's gone 8-0, like the only person in the league to have the most amount of wins you could possibly have.
Mm-hmm.
And just absolutely insane. And has just I can't stress this enough. It's just been like very, very critical in our team's success. Of just even the week he didn't play, it's just like, hey, who needs match help? Who needs scrimmages? I'm here. Here's team pace. Just anything and everything they could do to help. Like, phenomenal. Just absolutely insane.
Like, if you look through your wins and losses here, like, he is the difference maker on your team most of the time.
Yes,
like,
yes.
If it was anybody else and they didn't get the win there, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 potential 4-5s, and you go from 8-1 to like 5-4 with everybody else.
Yeah.
And then you're fighting for a potential playoff spot.
Yeah, it's just insane.
So yeah,
it's absolutely insane.
It's an obvious who has the team MVP here. Probably even just like the league MVP front runner for the regular season.
In all actuality, yes. That is not something that like we have ranked, but like 8-0 is really hard to justify not giving it to.
Yeah.
And also like an 80% game win rate as well. So like just absurdly high game win rate, obviously insanely high match win rate, and just being able to interact with Weevo has just been awesome. I cannot stress that enough. If anyone is running a league and needs like a front runner for teams, there you go. There's your guy.
Weevo will no longer be middle of the pack draft.
Absolutely not. Like, dude, look, this is what round.
It was round 10,
7. Something like that.
It was deep into the rounds. It was around between round 7 and 10, somewhere in there.
Just like, yeah, sure, sure, why not?
Whoever
and
this is,
just
sure.
goes out and kills it.
Just destroys it.
Yeah.
Other shout out here is William the Schwei, however you pronounce it. That.
Yeah, William also just been very, very critical. 6-2 on the season, which is good enough for second team. Just, yeah, absolutely killed it this season. Our team is fantastic. I love all of them. And I'm really looking forward to, like, playing and interacting and having them in the community in the future as well.
Yep. I'm going to jump over to standings just so we can get this last little bit here, kind of look at this a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, like, if you look at this stuff, had any of these win-loss, whatever, gone just a little bit farther, like the Blacephalons are a match behind the purebreds. The Shuckles were a match behind the Blacephalons. Like, had the Turtwigs went a couple 2-0s instead of a couple 2-1s. That makes the difference there.
Like, dude, the T-Tars had the same record as us and had a better like game win percentage than us. But because ours came in, like, because our losses were better, essentially, like, yeah, like, we had more wins. Like, just absolutely insane. Insane season. And this has just been a blast from start to finish.
Shout out to Blacephalons, who have the best battle percent win rate. Tied,
really freaking close, man.
Technically tied with Alpha Ampharos. Literally just like 1 win down, 1 loss down. A lot of real strong teams. Really happy with how this season ran out. Excited to see how these playoffs things go. You're down right now. You're down 1-2. You better pick them up.
Look, man. Look, Rome wasn't built in a day. We got this.
I'm gonna say, yeah, having the week off probably helps a little bit. Having everybody kind of come back refreshed, kind of get to take a break.
Oh, we didn't take a week off. I'll tell you that much. Our team was out there hustling and bustling.
Anywho, that kind of brings us to the tail end of this episode, where we're probably going to touch on what's next, because it's the end of the year. We normally kind of start planning all of our events for next year around this time. The big things to note is the revamped circuit that's coming out starting next year, which it's gonna be kind of similar to the CP system. More akin to what you see like out in the field for regionals and stuff versus what we were doing before with like invitational points and things like that. Now you'll kind of just be earning points to hit a threshold instead of having to play for invites. So now every game kind of matters more. It's better overall. Everyone gets points. You can earn points multiple different ways. We're looking to have a really big end of the year event, and this is going to help facilitate that towards the future.
Yep.
A lot of our events are going to stay over on Battlefy most likely. That's just kind of where we've been set up. I looked at trying to move to Limitless. It's a little confusing. Battlefy has a lot of the fun, like it just flows. You don't have to do a whole lot, like to keep track of stuff. If there's a problem, Battlefy tells you, and I think we'll just stick with that for the future. So look to Battlefy if you're looking for Scarlet and Violet events. We'll probably start that stuff in early January.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely be taking like the holiday season off.
Everyone's got to play the game. We got to have time to play the game.
not only that, I could use a breather.
Use a breather.
We've been running events for a very hot minute now, and just taking a break for half a minute was going to be really awesome.
Yeah, not having to worry.
Obviously, what that means is instead of running events, we're going to be making even more content and like putting our nose to the grindstone and like working on stuff.
Yeah, you bet that I'm taking the whole weekend for Scarlet and Violet off. I talked to my boss today, like, this is the weekend I need off. I will be gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Do not call me. Do not get a hold of me. I will not be available.
Dude, I did the same thing this week. Like, just the entire weekend. We had a meeting on Wednesday last week. I'm like, look, I'm on vacation until next Saturday. Don't call me. Do not text me. I am not going to answer you. And, like, obviously, I have my group chats of, like, my stores and everything of, like, hey, here's what's going on. I'm just like, I'm not acknowledging that. I'll see it next week.
Yeah. It'll be there for me when I get back.
It'll be fine.
Which I told my boss, like, you can work me as hard as you want the 4 days before that. I don't care. It's just, like, as long as no one's bothering me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm fine.
Yep, agreed.
Probably going to go... I still haven't pre-ordered my game because there's no pre-order bonuses to worry about, right?
Yeah.
And so what I'm currently debating whether I want to pre-order it from GameStop and try to figure out how to go pick it up and then go home and do all that. Or just get the digital copy and download it on my new Switch, which will be here in a little bit over 2 weeks now. Or go pick it up from Walmart that night if they have it out. Because at Walmart, it's $10 cheaper than everywhere else for for physical copies.
I have ours on pre-order with GameStop already.
Yeah, because you went to go get the Eternatus code.
And that was the only way to get them, man.
That should not be how it works, unfortunately. Like, come on.
I honestly am considering canceling and just going to Walmart, but whatever. I also like the idea of knowing that I'm going to have a copy and like not having to fight a crowd at Walmart.
Fun fact, I live in the middle of nowhere. The average age here is probably 40 plus, and they could give 2 expletives about Pokemon or any video games in general.
True. Counterpoint.
I don't have crowds to fight.
Counterpoint. It's still not like the highest average age of a place in Missouri, because Branson, let me tell you, there's about average age down there was about 90.
Yeah, Branson is where everyone goes to retire.
We Monday, as we're coming into town, there is a Shoney's on like the main drag there.
Yep.
And
I know exactly
Tiffany
where it's
from
at.
The south. She's like, oh my gosh, I've not seen a Shoney's in 15, 20 years. Can we please go eat dinner at Shoney's? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we get done at the park and everything, and we get back to the hotel, and we're like, all right, let's figure stuff out. You said you wanted to go to Shoney's. I'll look up. They closed at 4 o'clock.
Yep. Yep.
And so then Wednesday, we're like, well, let's go grab lunch. And so we go to Shoney's, and we're the only car in the lot. It is 1 o'clock. There are 3 cars in the lot when we get there. There are 0 customers inside. And let me tell you, we walk in, and the hostess goes, buffet is, like 13 something each. That doesn't come with your drinks. We're only buffet. Do you all want a table? It's like, well, yeah. Like, do I not look like I'm hungry? Do I look like I can't afford this? Like, what is this presumption you're giving me? Like, I don't understand this energy you're giving off right now. Come to find out, the energy she was giving off is, are you sure you're actually where you're supposed to be right now? Because there hasn't been someone in this building under the age of 70 in 40 years.
Yeah. So... Shoney's is definitely a weird experience in Missouri. They're not as popular as they are in the South, unfortunately.
It also wasn't good, so...
Yeah. Definitely, I grew up in that area, so I kind of, I know pretty much exactly everywhere you're talking about for the most part. Shoney's were, a dime a dozen. If you go, you could find one, in Springfield, you can find one in Branson. Any large city that side of, the Ozarks, there's probably a Shoney's within a 50-mile radius somewhere.
It's now the only one in Missouri.
Oh, so they closed the one in Springfield, post-pandemic, then.
There's one in Oklahoma. One that is in... Nope, that's not Arkansas.
That's not Arkansas.
It's right there in, the nook. I can't tell if it's in Arkansas or Tennessee.
If I had to guess, it's probably Tennessee.
And, well, that one's temporarily closed. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
So... What sucks for Shoney's? This is a weird tangent we're going.
Everything. Got it.
Shoney's really got punished by the whole COVID is a thing, and you can't do buffets are a big no-go because everybody's touching, breathing, standing next to each other, and so they got hit hard. They were already declining. It's even worse now.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I can't stress that enough. Just save your money, man.
Go to Waffle House.
If you're in Branson, don't go to Shoney's. We did have just some of the absolute best barbecue I've ever had in my life.
Where'd you
go? Getting Basted.
Yes.
I cannot shout them out enough. They are fantastic. My little brother was telling me that the store's owner, their kid is on some Food Network show now for kids or something. I genuinely have no idea.
Goodness.
It's their family's insanely good at food. Would highly recommend them if you're ever in the area.
Nice. But yeah, back to maybe doing events and whatnot. We'll probably do a Pokemon Draft League starting in February, if I had to guess. We want everyone to be able to access everything, if you're gonna play that kind of thing, you know what I mean? And that should give everyone ample time to have dittos or however we need to figure out how to breed things and all that jazz. So Circuit starts in January, Draft League probably in February. Go enjoy the holidays in Scarlet and Violet. We'll still be here making content, but we won't be running events for at least a little bit.
Yep, for sure. And I'm kind of fine with that.
Okay. I think that's it. Can't think of anything else that we wanted to talk about today. I know the whole leaks system is like the leaks and everything is starting to come up here soon. So if we're gonna be getting real close to data mine season, which is
Yep.
my favorite week for Pokemon stuff. So if you're,
It's gonna be a blast.
I've already started like talking about like some leak stuff on the deep dives, some like things that probably, like, I tried to stay spoiler free on the first deep dive. The next deep dive probably is not going to be spoiler friendly.
Nah.
Free.
Just throwing that out there. At this point, it's fine.
Yeah. We'll probably be talking about potential paradox Pokemon and things like that, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline for the games in general, that I think are going to be really good for VGC. With that,
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
with that all out of the way, is there anything you want to say on the way out before we go to outro here?
I'm ready for a nap.
You ready for a nap?
Yep, I could use a nap. That sounds pretty okay.
I could also use a nap. I have tomorrow off. I'm excited.
I also have tomorrow off.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know. Tiff probably has a honey-do list I need to get done.
I know Kayla and I are carving pumpkins tomorrow.
I also have pumpkins to carve. I don't know if we're gonna do that tonight or tomorrow.
Well, if
Depends
you're
on how
if you're,
late we're out tonight.
I'm about to say, it depends on what you're doing tonight. If you guys want to come up and carve pumpkins together,
That's a strong possibility.
there you go. I'm cooking a pot roast.
She might already have plans for us, to be 100% honest.
I don't know. I'm cooking a pot roast, so.
I could be convinced.
Okay, get us on out of here, bub.
Alright, man. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're listening over on YouTube. If you're listening over on like Apple or Spotify or any of those audio-only platforms that can leave a review for us, that'd be so fantastic. It really does help us out just a ton. Just helps us, get pushed out against the algorithms everywhere, and it helps.
Mm-hmm.
Just huge shout outs for all the support we've had here lately. Everything's been great, and it's going to continue to be fantastic. Really looking forward to it. And let's see. You can always follow us over on Twitter at LR Lessons, myself at Mr. Missouri 25, Carl's at Musical VGC. You can follow us over on Twitch as well at Mr. Missouri 25 and at Musical. Past that, you can always come and hang out with us on the community Discord. That link is always down in the show notes as well. And, go check out the website. I'm sure we might have something going up on at some point when the new games come out. There's probably going to be something, or I don't know. We'll figure something out.
I'm say Carter needs to get on that commissioning new art so I can make new merch.
Look, man, I tried. I've reached out, never heard back. So
Say I got some money for you. That way you're not paying out of pocket. So
if there's any artists listening,
or if you know somebody who has open commissions, we're looking for stuff.
Our email is in the show notes as always.
Yeah.
You can reach out to us on there, or on
Twitter Discord
DMs,
or Twitter or wherever.
Please reach out to us. We're looking for an artist for some more artwork to get some more merch made up, which you can always find over on the website at the merch page. But if you're interested in supporting us but don't want to pick up merch, because I understand it can be a little expensive, you can always do that over on Anchor for as little as 20 or 25 cents an episode. Helps keeps our lights on and pays the bills and all that good stuff.
Yep.
I think that's everything.
I think that's it.
All right. Till next week, everyone. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you then. Have a good one. Peace.